Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. I am so genuinely excited you're here with us because today we are talking about something that is literally going to upgrade how you communicate. Whether you're sitting in a classroom, trying to survive a group project, or just navigating complex topics with your peers, learning how to actually master academic discussion is an absolute game changer. So let's get into it.
Now, right off the bat, there's this really powerful quote from Proverbs chapter 27. It says, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." I want you to picture a blacksmith for a second. To forge a really strong, razor-sharp sword, they don't just gently tap the metal, right? They use intense heat, they use friction, and they use really specific tools to refine that raw iron. Well, in that exact same way, we can use purposeful, focused conversation to sharpen our own minds and the minds of our peers.
Moving right into our first section, the power of discussion and upgrading your conversations. Now let me be totally straight with you. Effective, confidence-building discussions, they do not just happen by accident. You don't just sit down in a circle with your group and suddenly, boom, you're having a brilliant mind-expanding conversation. It takes real intentionality. It takes knowing exactly how to participate with purpose and clarity. So what exactly are we talking about here? Well, an academic discussion is defined as a purposeful exchange built on listening well, sharing ideas clearly, and respecting others' viewpoints to grow thinking. This isn't just about scoring a quick participation grade. This is a specific, highly powerful tool that prepares you for high school, for college, and for future leadership roles.
To really grasp this, we've got to compare casual conversation with academic discussion. If you're wondering how to actually tell the two apart, you have to look at the underlying goal. Casual talk with your friends, that's fun, and sometimes it's literally just about winning a quick debate, like arguing over which superhero franchise is the absolute best. But academic talk is entirely different. It's about understanding different views and backing up your points. It is not about who shouts the loudest. It's about coming together to understand the material way deeper than you ever could on your own.
All right, on to Section 2, Tools for Academic Talk and Building Your Argument.
I don't want you to look at these next concepts as strict, boring rules you have to memorize. Think of them as power tools in your communication toolkit. We call these sentence stems. Listen to these essential ones. I agree with that because, or according to the text, I noticed that. Now, why are these so crucial? Because when you use these specific starters, you open the door to deeper understanding. You're actually inviting others into your thought process, rather than just shutting them down with a flat, "you're wrong," or a generic, "yeah, I think so too." You're building a solid bridge between your ideas and the text.
Let's actually see this in action with a great example. Imagine someone saying, "I think the author wanted us to feel empathy for the villain because on page 78, it says he was abandoned as a child." This brilliantly illustrates what it sounds like to back up a claim with direct text evidence. Notice how the student didn't just throw out a random opinion about the villain being misunderstood? No, they anchored it directly to page 78. That right there is how you build an argument that makes people stop and truly listen to what you have to say.
Which brings us to Section 3, How to Disagree Respectfully. Challenging ideas, not people. Okay, we all know disagreeing is usually the absolute hardest part of any group project, right? Someone says something you completely disagree with, and your natural human instinct is to just jump right in and start arguing. But remember, the goal of academic discussion is to disagree without it ever feeling like a personal attack. So, how do we actually pull that off? By using a phrase like this: "I see it differently. Can you explain your thinking? Notice my tone there? I'm not being aggressive at all. I'm being genuinely polite and curious." By asking them to explain their thinking, you are showing total respect for their brain, even if you don't agree with their conclusion just yet. You're attacking the idea, not the person.
Here is another incredibly useful script you can try out. "I hear what you're saying, but I think this setting made the character more afraid, not braver. What do you think about that?" The crucial point here is that second sentence. What do you think about that? You're stating your opposing view clearly, absolutely, but you're leaving the door wide open for the conversation to continue. You aren't ending the discussion. You are enriching it and keeping that momentum going.
Next up, Section 4, Keeping Groups Focused, Roles and Leadership.
So now you know how to agree and disagree respectfully. But how do you keep the whole team from getting totally derailed? Remember, being part of a team means waiting your turn, staying focused on the objective, and continuously showing everyone else that you are fully engaged. And hey, engagement isn't just about what you say when it's your turn to speak. It is about active listening, which really breaks down into 3 simple steps.
Step 1, nodding. Step 2, taking notes. Step 3, making eye contact. These nonverbal cues, they're just as important as speaking. When you nod and make eye contact, you're silently telling the speaker, hey, I value what you're sharing right now. It creates a safe, collaborative environment.
But what happens when someone inevitably strays completely off topic and starts talking about a totally different book? Or, what happened at recess? You can use this line, let's save that for later. Can we come back to our current novel first? Do you hear that gentle, leadership-focused tone? You aren't yelling at them to pay attention. You're simply validating their thought by saying, let's save that, and then you're firmly steering the ship back to the main topic. It is a fantastic, highly mature leadership skill.
Another brilliant way to avoid chaos is by establishing specific group roles right at the very start. Think of it like assembling a team. You've got the timekeeper, who tracks the time so you don't run out before answering the prompt. You've got the note-taker, who records the best ideas so absolutely nothing is lost. And the facilitator, who keeps the discussion moving smoothly. When you assign these roles right at the start of a project, everyone suddenly has a very clear purpose. It gives everyone a voice and completely prevents the conversation from just falling apart.
Finally, let's look at Section 5, Education, Morality, and Peace, the ultimate goal.
The source material for this explainer, the heroesmartacademy Godly Learner series, intertwines biblical morality directly with education. It elevates these study skills into a much broader life lesson, asking a really profound question. What is the point of being smart if you make choices that hurt? According to this philosophy, you could learn all the brilliant sentence stems, debate tactics, and leadership skills in the world, but if those tools are used to manipulate others, or if a supposedly educated person continues to make choices that hurt themselves and the people around them, what's the point? The text argues that education without biblical morality ultimately leads to harm.
This brings us to a foundational promise highlighted in the text from Romans chapter 8. It promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. The series argues that when you actually align your learning, your conversations, and your words with godly principles, the ultimate payoff isn't just getting an A in class. The real payoff is experiencing true, lasting peace of mind.
So the crucial takeaway from this source is this: iron sharpens iron. Every single time you enter a discussion, you have a choice to make. Choose your words carefully and shape your mind. Are you going to use your words to break someone down, or will you use them to sharpen your peers, elevate the conversation, and grow together? Think about taking this philosophy into your very next class. Ask thoughtful questions, use your evidence, speak with absolute respect, and just watch how it transforms the entire learning experience. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep sharpening those minds.